All right, Rabbi, good morning. Let's begin. Beautiful, beautiful daf ahead of us today. Today's daf is Chaf Dalid. We are picking up on Chaf Dalid. And we're picking up second line down from the top. So let's remember again, just to reorient ourselves a little bit, we've been speaking about the distinction between the Egla Arufa and the Para Aduma. Specifically, again, Halacha Lamaisa, the difference between the Shchita, the preparation of the Egla Arufa and the Para Aduma. Namely, again, that the Egla Arufa is done from the back, the animal is decapitated, verse is the Para Aduma, which is only kosher b'shchita. Therefore, the Mishnah said that which is kosher b'para is not kosher b'egla, and vice versa as well. So we pick up in Meretz Hashem, second line down from the top, Chaf Daled Amud Aleph. Our shir this morning is dedicated. I got it. Our shir this morning is dedicated. Not my first rodeo. Right? So our shir this morning is dedicated by Leah Sol in Schus of Refuah Shlema for her daughter Ilana Bas Esther. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, Ilana with Kol Chol Yisrael completed during Refuah. So says the Mishnah, V'chol heicha dichsiv beichuka lo darshina kabachomer. So we'll say ultimately says the Gemara. Are we to say, now remember again, based on the drasha yesterday, do we say that wherever the pasuk says chuka, that we don't darshan a kabachomer? So the Gemara says, Gabi Yom Kippur. So let's remember again, what we wanted to say is based on the fact that the pasuk says chuka. Chuka teaches us that para aduma requires shchita and not arifa. So the Gemara says, is that true that every single time we say chuka, we don't darshan the kabachomer? Gabi Yom Kippurim. What about Yom Kippur, where it says dichsiv bei chuka? The pasuk says chuka. Uvitanya, and we'll say, watch this. It's actually incredible. Va'aso chatas. The pasuk says that by the carbon of the Kohen Gadol, va'aso chatos. It says it will make it into a chatos. Hagoral osa chatos, ve'in Hashem osa chatos. The goral, we'll say, ultimately the lottery makes it into a chatos, but the shame, right? So we'll say declaring it, giving it its name does not make it a chatos. What this means, we'll say, is as follows. We have two animals, right? Two paros that are, or I should say the two seirim, the two goats that are offered up on Yom Kippur. One is the seir la Hashem, one is the seir la Azazel. We'll say the halacha is that they are declared ultimately again through a goral, through a lottery. If the Kohen Gadol does not use a lottery, but instead he just goes ahead and names them by name. This one is the La Hashem. I guess he makes a declarative statement. This is the one La Hashem. This is the one La Azazel. Such designations do not work. It can only be designated by lottery and not by name. Hagor lo sachatos ve'in Hashem lo sachatos sheyachol. Because I would have thought the following. V'halo dinhu. I would have thought the following. Kavachomer uma b'makom shelo kiddush goral kiddush Hashem. But in other circumstances, where ultimately, again, a goral doesn't work, yet active designation does work, which is what we'll say is the case of all other karbanos, then makom shekidesh hagoral ino din shekidesh Hashem. Then certainly in a place where the goral does work, of course, the active designation should work as well. Talmud Lomar, therefore the pasuk says, va'aso chatos. We'll say the pasuk says, you shall make it into a chatos. You shall make it a chatos. Hagoral osa chatos. The goral makes it a chatos. Ve'in Hashem osa chatos. An ultimate designation does not make it into a chatos. So the Gemara says, Taima dikasev rachmana va'aso chatos. The reason ultimately again that we don't allow the designation to work, but it can only be declared by a goral, is because the pasuk says va'aso chatos. You will say, so by Yom Kippur, the reason why you cannot simply declare one seir la Hashem and one seir la Azazel is because the pasuk says va'aso chatos. It is the goral, the lottery, that makes it into a chatos. Had the Torah not said that phrase, halav hachi darshinan kavachomer, apparently it would have darshan the kavachomer. What's there for again? I'll say. So what do you see from here? Even though it says chuka, at the end of the day, you would still darshan the kavachomer. See, over here by Egla Arufa, also just because it says chuka, technically speaking, I could have still darshan the kavachomer. To which the Gemara says, Miyet Rachmana Gabe Egla Ha'arufa. I will say by Egla Arufa, it's different because what does the pasuk say? Ha'arufa, the one which is decapitated. Zos ba'arifa Ve'in acheres ba'arifa. Also, it teaches me that it is egla arufa, dafka, that is decapitated, but no other offering is decapitated. I utehei egla kshera b'shchita mikavachomer. Rabbi say, why don't I say that the egla should be kosher for shchita through a kavachomer? Rabbi say, what's the kavachomer? Uma para shalohochshera ba'arifa kshera b'shchita. Rabbi say, so regular para duma, which is not kosher ba'arifa, cannot be decapitated, but yet again is kosher b'shchita. Egla shekshera ba'arifa eno din shukshra b'shchita. So Rabbi said, an egla which is kosher ba'arifa, right, which can be decapitated, should certainly be kosher b'shchita as well. Amakra va'arfu ha'egla. Rabbi said, the pasuk says they shall decapitate the egla ba'arifa in b'shchita lo. Dafka with decapitation, but not with shchita. So we'll say, so bottom line, halacha lemaisa, the Gemara is off by saying, egla arufa must be decapitated, i.e., broken, the neck broken from the back. Because even decapitation, you could do decapitation from the front of the neck as well. In this context, decapitation really means the breaking of the back of the neck of the animal, versus egla, that's egla arufa, versus paraduma, which although it is not a typical sacrificial offering, can only be shechted ultimately through proper shechita. Good. Says the Mishnah. We'll say this is an incredible sugya. Mamish, an incredible sugya. You're going to say to yourself, Zachisi, that I got to learn Daf Chaf Dalet in Maseches Chullin. You thought Chaf Gimel was incredible. You're going to be wowed by Chaf Hey. Right? Everything until now was incredible. This will say is such a beautiful sugya. So, not Agarata. I don't want to get your hopes up. It's not Agarata, right? But it's the next best thing to Agarata. So, Kasher Bekana Possible Abiyim. Well, so listen to this. So remember again, you see the theme in all of these Mishnayos. The theme is, Rabbi, that which is good in situation A is not good for B. So continuing along those same lines, this has nothing to do with our previous subject matter, except it follows the same thematic pattern. That which is good for X is not good for Y. So this is really fascinating. Kasher b'kohanim possible Leviim. Listen to this. That which is kasher by Kohanim is possible by Leviim. Kasher by Leviim, possible by Kohanim. Right? That which is kasher by Leviim is possible by Kohanim. Both say incredible Mishnah. Except, we have no idea what it's talking about. So says the Gemara. Both say, here we go. Kohanim b'mumin psulim b'shanim ksherim. Both say this is actually fascinating. So by Kohanim, so both say a mum passes. If a coin has a mum, some type of blemish, that disqualifies the coin from doing the avodah. Yet, b'shanim ksherim. Both say there seems to be no age limit by Kohanim. No age limit. Now both say, now obviously there is a floor, right? You can't start doing the avodah before becoming an adult. What it means is Kohanim do not age out of service. There is no mandatory retirement by the kahuna. On the other hand, Leviim, is actually quite fascinating. Leviim are not disqualified through a mum, which is really quite fascinating. So a Levi could have a mum and he can still do his particular Levitic avodah. However, b'shanim psulim. But I will say, but Leviim do have mandatory retirement. Leviim age out. So therefore, again, now we'll say the Mishnah restates the Gemara Nimsa kasher b'kohanim possible Leviim. Therefore, we'll say it turns out that which is kasher by kohanim is possible Leviim. Specifically, right, old age. Apparently, by Leviim, they can no longer do their avodah. By kohanim, they can. Kasher by Leviim possible by kohanim, but that which is kasher by Leviim, i.e., mumim, right? A mum does not disqualify by a Levi, but yet by a kohen it does. So we'll say it says in Hanimili. From where do we know this from? So we'll say, how do I know? So we'll say, so Leviim have shanim, but not mumim. Kohanim have mumim, but not shanim. So Minhanim, I told you, really fascinating. Minhanim, where do I know this from? Here we go. The Tanah Banan. Zos asher leLeviim. So we'll say, so the pasuk says, this is, now the rest of the pasuk is, Zos asher leLeviim, mi ben chamesh ve'esim shana v'amala, Yavo litzva tzava ba'avodas oel moed. This is the law of the Leviim. At the age of 25, they could come to do the avodah in the Mishkan. This is speaking about the Mishkan. It's going to be very important in just a moment. So we'll say, so ma Talmud lomar lefi shene'emar umi ben chamishim shana yashuv. See that both say the pasuk also says that's what the very next pasuk. Umi ben chamishim shana yashuv mitzvah avod v'lo ya'avod od. At the age of 50, both say is mandatory Levitic retirement. It's a sweet deal, by the way, sweet deal. Right? So at the age of 50, and by the way, you still get your pension, right? I'm saying you get your Levitic support. So it says at the age of 50, mandatory retirement for the Levium. So listen to this. So Lamdenu, here we go, to teach us the Levium Shashanim Postlin Bahayim. So it teaches us that apparently a Levi begins to work at 25, mandatory retirement at 50, and I both say after 50, Shanim are postlin, right? At the end, at 50, therefore I will say if a Levi tries to serve at 51, his avodah will be basal. So Yochel Mumin Psulin. So I say I might have thought that once we have Shanim as an invalidation by Leviim, so too ultimately again a mum would passel as well. So the Gemara says V'dinhu. So I might have made a kavachomer. Kohanim Shena Shana Postlin Ban Mum Postlin. So when it comes to Kohanim, where there are no age restrictions or Shanim does not invalidate, but yet Mumin do. So Eino Din Leviim Shashanim Postlin Bahan. Eino Din Shem Mumin Postlin. So I would have thought therefore Leviim. So it sounds like Leviim even more Chomer. Leviim where Shanim do invalidate, certainly Mumin should invalidate as well. Talmud Lomar. Therefore the pasuk says Zos Asher LeLeviim. Zos LeLeviim ve'ein acheres LeLeviim. Therefore, we'll say the pasuk says what? Zos. This is the qualification for Leviim. Namely, what? Years. Years. Shanim is the qualification / disqualification for the Leviim, but not anything else. Ve'ein mumin postlin behind. But ultimately, again, not mumin. Yachol yo kohanim psulim b'shanim. So I would have thought that kohanim should be disqualified 3 years. 3 years. So what is that? So the Gemara says, why would I have thought that? V'lo dinu, I can make a kavachomer. What's the kavachomer? Uma leviim shein mumin postlin bohen shanim postlin. And I will say is amazing. So leviim, which remember again, leviim are not disqualified through mumin, yet they are disqualified through shanim. Kohanim shamumin postlin bohen. So what's like kohanim who are disqualified through mumin? Eino din shiu shanim postlin bohen. Certainly again, what I would say that shanim should passel them as well. Talmud Lomar, Asher LeLeviim, Velo Asher LeKohanim. There was the pasuk says Asher LeLeviim. This disqualification of Shanim, Dafka applies to the Leviim, and we darshin Velo Asher LeKohanim. That was say good, beautiful. So what do we got? What we have right now is Leviim are disqualified with Shanim, Kohanim disqualified with Mumin, and neither shares the other's quality. Beautiful. Now we'll say. Now here we go. Now, where does the Levitic disqualification of Shanim apply? Now remember again, where is this specifically stated? It's specifically stated where? In the context of the Mishkan. I will say, remember again, the Leviim have a specific responsibility in the Mishkan that they did not have anywhere else, which was the dismantling, carrying, and rebuilding of the Mishkan. Oh, now it all comes together. See, Rabbi, there's a lot more manual service, physical service for a Levi in the desert, which obviously did not apply once the Jews came to Eretz. So I will say, even in the days of the Mishkan, remember again, okay, Mishkan was in Shiloh for how long? We're going back to Menachos, 369 years, right? So I will say, again, remember we had that in Zvachim. No one's doing Chazar in Zvachim? No. Okay. So I'll say, so again, 369 years. So I'll say, so remember again, even when there was a Mishkan Eretz Yisrael, the Mishkan, right, was in Gilgal, right, Gilgal 40 years, and then in, good, Gilgal first, right, and then in Shiloh afterwards. So we'll say, so remember again, even there was not a constant dismantling and moving. So now we have to analyze this. So the Gemara says as follows. So the Gemara says, Yochel af b'Shiloh u'bebeis olamim king. I might have thought that the age disqualification applies in Shiloh and in the Beis HaMikdash. Now look at Rashi. It's almost Rashi right across. Yochol af b'Shiloh beis olamim she'ein avodas leviim ela shorim u'mishorim. But now watch this. In Shiloh and in the Beis HaMikdash, so the job of the Leviim changed dramatically. Remember again, in the Mishkan itself, their primary responsibility was dismantling, carrying, and rebuilding of the Mishkan. In Shiloh and in the Beis HaMikdash, their primary responsibility was what? Opening the gates and singing. So I might have thought that the age restriction or age limitation applies in Shiloh and the Beis HaMikdash as well. Talmud Lomar, la'avod avodas avodah va'avodas maso. Oh, Rabbi said when the Torah speaks about the age limitation of the Levium, it specifically says when does it apply? When they are working. La'avod, avodas, avoda, v'avodas masa. Rabbi said avodas masa means what? The carrying of the Mishkan. La'amarti ela bizman shavoda b'kasef. Rabbi said, so therefore it's something very interesting. The avoda ultimately again of halacha of the I should say the disqualification of shanim, or I should say the age restrictions for the Levium, was dafka only in the desert. We'll see how that carries through halacha l'mais in just a little bit. So the Rabbi said, therefore again there was an age restriction, but only during the desert. Apparently not in the Beis Hamikdash and in Shiloh. So I'll say, so I'll tell you something interesting. So listen to this. Actually, let's finish up this sugya. So the Gemara says, "Weiter, kasav echad omar mi ben chamesh shanim v'esrim shana umala the kasav echad omar ben shloshim." So we'll say, so listen to this. Now we have another problem. Let's talk about the beginning, the initiation of Levitic service. So one pasuk says at the age of 25, one pasuk says at the age of 30. So which one is it? Ef shalo or shloshim. You can't say that it's 30 shekvar ne'emar chavhei because the other pasuk said 25. V'ef shalom archav hey, you can't say 25. Why? Shekvar ne'emar shloshim, because ultimately again the pasuk says 30. So ultimately again, which one is it? Which one is it? So the Gemara says ha ketzad chavhei letalmud ushloshim la'avoda. So we'll say what you see over here is the Levium apparently were inaugurated at the age of 25 to learn. 5 years of prep, 5 years of preparation. Ultimately, again, shloshim la'avoda. And at the age of 30, they begin the avoda. So we'll say an incredible idea. 5 years devoted to learning the halachos, to learning the details. So we'll say, the Gemara therefore says something astounding. Mikan, from here we learn a very important principle, which is, Mikan letalmid shalo ra'as simin yafa b'mishnasa heishanim shuv eino ro'eh. It was a very dramatic statement. From here we see that a student who has not seen any success in his learning for 5 years, within 5 years, will not see success. If you don't get it in 5 years, you're not going to get it. Look at Rashi just a moment. Shalo ra'as siman yafa, lomed v'shocheach. He learns and he forgets. If after 5 years he's not retaining anything, shuv eino ra'as siman bracha. So I'll tell you the truth. We've seen this Gemara before, right? I've always found this Gemara exceptionally troubling, right? You know, we have this concept that you never stop trying. You never stop trying. And here Chazal is a pretty damning statement, right? If you don't see siman bracha in 5 years, you don't get it in 5 years. And Rashi says very specifically, this is a din in retention, right? If you're learning and you're not retaining and you can't succeed in 5 years, shuv eino ro'eh siman bracha. So we'll say, so I think what Chazal telling us is something amazing. Chazal telling us not a din about my ability to be successful. They're telling us a din about human nature. It's kol shelo ra simin yafa b'mishnaso. We'll say, if I don't see success in 5 years, shuv eino ro'eh. I will no longer believe that I can be successful. Shuv eino ro'eh is not an objective statement about my abilities. It's an objective statement about human nature. Most of us, if we do not succeed quickly, usually assume that we will not succeed. We want success and we want it now. We're generally not willing to understand that failure is par for the course. Repeated failure is par for the course. Sustained failure is part of the course. Therefore, if I fail over the course of 5 years, Chazal are not telling me that I'm not going to be successful. People fail for much longer than 5 years and are successful. Chazal are telling us a din in human nature. Most people, when they're not successful over 5 years, you know what happens? You know what happens? What happens, Rabbi saying? They give up. Shuv eino ro'eh siman bracha means I will usually, if I'm not successful in 5 years, I give up. I don't see bracha. Why? Because I give up. Not because I can't do it. Shuv eino ro'eh. I will not allow myself to see the bracha because usually I give up on myself. Usually when a person experiences sustained failure, they just give up on themselves instead of plowing through. Incredible Gemara. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yossi Omer Gimel Shanim. Rabbi Yossi says the truth is people give up on themselves much shorter than 5 years. Usually they give up on themselves in 3 years. Why? Shene'emar ulagadlam shanim shalosh lalamdem sefer v'loshon kastiyim. So we'll say this is actually the pasuk over here is in Daniel. And it's talking about King Nebuchadnezzar went ahead and groomed a group of young Jewish men to go ahead and teach them Chaldean, right, the language, all right, and he gave them 3 years to learn it. So the Gemara says, you see from here that 3 years it takes to get it together. If you don't get it together in 3 years, you're not going to get it. V'idach shiny lashon kastiyim the kalil. Other opinions said no, the Nebuchadnezzar only needed 3 years because apparently the kasti lashon is easy to pick up. V'idach shiny hilchos avoda the takifin. And the other opinion will say hilchos avoda is different because ultimately again there's a lot involved, and because there's a lot involved, you need 5 years in order to get it. Good. So sorry, but bottom line for our purposes, what do we just emerged something amazing. So we have over here is first of all, Levium were conscripted at the age of 25, 5 years to learn, begin the avoda at the age of 30. We've also seen, according to this Gemara, that mandatory retirement at 50 was a din where? A din in the desert, in the Mishkan. Why? Because again, for the Mishkan time, the avoda of the Levim required an incredible amount of actual, like, physical service, physical work. Tan Rabbanon. We'll say, it's not to say that at 50 you can't do manual labor. I don't want to offend anyone over here, right? But we'll say, but clearly, again, this avoda, if you think about it, really is a lot of dismantling and carrying the Mishkan. Obviously, we'll say, at that point in time, we wanted younger people to be able to do it. So, weiter. Tan Rabbanon. We'll say, and again, sometimes we don't have enough time to really dwell on these lessons that we see, the beautiful most we see in the Gemara. But we'll say, I would urge you, what is it? Swish this lesson around your palate a little bit about kol, right? We'll say we give up on so many things in life because we don't encounter instant success. Like somehow we think that we're just supposed to be successful first time around, and it doesn't work. It's Sheva Yipol Tzadik V'Kam. The Tzadik fails 7 times before he accomplishes anything, and that's the Tzadik. Imagine the rest of us who are not yet Tzadik. We'll say failure is par for the course, and sustained failure is par for the course. And Chazal said the reason often we're not successful is not because we can't be successful, it's just because we give up on ourselves. Important to contemplate these lessons. Weiter. Tan Rabbanon. Kohen. So we'll say now we'll switch to the Kohen for just a moment. So we'll say Kohen. When can he begin to do the avoda? A Kohen can begin the avoda already when he's maybe shtei saros. So we'll say when he brings 2 hairs, which means the beginning of physical maturation. The beginning of physical maturation, he's able to go and do the avoda. Ad sheyaskin, until he gets old. So we'll say, obviously, what's the shaila? Right, what does old mean, right? Always a very open-ended question. So we'll see. So kashal avoda, umumin postinbo. And I will say, obviously, mumin will go ahead and invalidate the coin from doing the avoda. Ben Levi, mi ben shloshen vad ben chamishim, kashal avoda. Ben Levi, I will say, from 30 to 50 is able to do the avoda. Lishanim postlimbo. And ultimately, again, when he reaches the age of 50, ultimately, again, mandatory retirement. We're supposed to hear the Bryce says it explicitly. When is that true? Moed shebemidbar. I will say that is true in the desert. Aval b'shilo u'bebeis olamim ein nifsalin ela bekol. This is incredible. I will say, but in Shiloh and in Beis Hamikdash, the Levi, there is no longer a mandatory retirement at the age of 50. So when is their first retirement for a Levi, Rabosai? When his voice gives out. The avoda of the Levi is to sing. If he cannot sing, right, the moment that his voice is no longer melodious, that's the time when there's mandatory retirement, although we're going to qualify that in just a moment as well. Rabbi Yossi, Mikra. Rabbi Yossi says, no, what's the pasuk? Beis Rabosai. Vayhi ke'echad lemechatzatzrim u'lemeshorim lashmiya kol echad. Ultimately, Rabbi Gemara quotes the pasuk from Divrei Hayamim that he was one of the people, the mechatzrim, meaning the gatekeepers, the meshorim, the singers, lashmiya kol echad. Right? So what's lashmiya kol echad means all of them to raise their voices together. So the idea is, if you could sing, you got a job. If you can't sing, ultimately, again, you're retired. And remember, I want to be clear, this is talking about avoda. What this is not talking about is the Levi's ability to collect tithes, meaning all kidding aside. So remember, again, the Levitic support you're entitled to as long as you're a Levi. Right? Even if you're mamish, you're tone deaf and you never sang, and no one's ever going to let you sing, or will ever let you sing, I'm sorry. Right? Lemais, again, you are still entitled to support. I want to be clear. The support is a function of being a Levi. And as we'll get into a little bit, there were other responsibilities and roles that Leviim had in the Beis HaMikdash, even for those, obviously not every person of us could sing. So even those Leviim who could not sing, there were other responsibilities in the Beis HaMikdash. So we'll say, so what we see is something amazing. So in the Midbar, 50 is the mandatory age for retirement for the Levi. In Shiloh and in Beis HaMikdash, I will say, ultimately again, Levi is employed, works for the Beis HaMikdash, as long as what? As long as his voice is good. The moment his voice is good, the moment his voice goes, ultimately again, that's when halacha lemaisa he's retired. So Rashi says, "Kol echad shetzrichin levasim es kolam shiunirim kekol echad." Fine, the Levim have to be able to sing together as one unified voice. Ad shiyaskin ad kama. So we'll say. So remember again, we said for the Kohen, the mandatory retirement for the Kohen is when ad shiyaskin, until he gets old. He can begin to serve as a Kohen the moment he experiences physical maturation with the appearance of two hairs. And at least according to the Brisa, he could serve at Shiyaskin until he gets old. So this is an incredible Gemara. So listen to this. Ad Kama. So what is old? What is old, right? So what's the fundamental Shaila? What's old? So Amar Rabbi Chanina, Ad Shirases. So we'll say really until he gets shaky. Rashi says of Ad Shirases, Yodav Veraglov Rosesin, Mein Koach, his hands begin to shake. His body begins to, which by the way, there's another reason for this, which is why, because remember again, one of the things that the Kohen has to be able to do is what? Specifically blood application, zerika. If his hand is shaky, Rabbi say, so there's an issue of spillage and also potential application on the wrong side of the line. So it says, so actually asking means until he's no longer steady. Until he's no longer steady. Shchita also, although Shchita, remember, is not really such shaila. Why? Shera bizarre. Remember again, Shchita could even be done by a non-Kohen. But so really, we'll say it's incredible. Achiyaskin means he's no longer steady. When he's no longer steady, so listen to this. This is incredible. Tanan Hasam, actually before it gets incredible. Tanan Hasam, Bal Keri Shetava V'lo Hitil Mayim. So listen to this. The Mishnah quotes halacha that at first has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Bal Keri means a man who had a seminal emission. Shetaval, who went to the mikvah, so we'll say the halacha is at least midrabanan about Keri is supposed to go to the mikvah. Right, man has to go to the mikvah when he has a seminal emission. So this is this interesting case. A man has a seminal emission, he goes to the mikvah, v'lo hitil mayim. But I will say he has not urinated since the seminal emission. L'chishayatil tameh. Ultimately, again, when he urinates, even though he went to the mikvah, he becomes tameh again. I will say, so what's the logic behind that? Rashi says the logic is because we're concerned that there are still droplets of semen that are inside of him, right? And therefore, when he urinates, will ultimately come out. Now, the chiddush over here is he already went to the mikvah. He went to the mikvah, but because we're concerned that when he urinates the first time, there may be droplets of semen that will come out. Therefore, again, essentially, he becomes tameh again as a balkeri. Rabbi Yossi says, "B'chola u'bezakin tameh, b'yeled u'baritar." Rabbi Yossi says it depends. If he's sick or if he's old, yes, we assume that not all of the zara, not all of the semen came out initially. However, again, bibari, if he's young, and if biyal means he's young, bibari means he's healthy, tahor. So what's we assume he's starving? We'll say, now what's Rabbi Yossi saying? Rabbi Yossi saying is, you're only concerned that some of the semen is left inside of him if someone is a little bit older or someone is not as healthy. But if someone ultimately is healthy, we assume that when the zera initially exited his body, it all came out. It all came out. Therefore, there's no residual droplets, and therefore, even if he goes to the mikvah before urinating, he does not become a balkari when he urinates. So we'll say, okay, what does this have to do with anything we're discussing? Because I will say, we're making a distinction here between what? Young people and old people. Watch this. Yeled ad kama. So we'll say, what's the definition of youth? So we'll say, watch this. This is incredible. Amar Rabbi Chanina, get ready. Kol sha'omid al raglo achas v'choletz mina alo v'noal mina alo. We'll say, you know what young is? You could stand on one foot unsupported, and take off your shoe or put on your shoe. Right? So we'll say, if you are young enough and balanced enough to take off your shoe or put on, you don't have to, it'll say, this is not like a circus, you don't have to take on your shoe, put on your shoe. It's one or the other, right? Either I could take off a shoe or put on a shoe, standing on one foot, unsupported. I could balance myself, that's young. That's young. If you could do that, which Rabbi say plugging this back into the kahuna, this makes sense, right? Why Rabbi say? Because again, it's about balance. It's about balance. Specifically for the avodah in the kahuna, you absolutely require balance. So we'll say this is incredible. Ma'aser. Amar Lav Rabbi Chanina. Listen to this. Say Rabbi Chanina. Shahaya ben Shmonim Shana. He was 80 years old. V'haya omet al raglo achatz v'chotzeitz mina alo. That at the age of 80, Rabbi say, he still was able to maintain his balance, that he was able to put on a shoe, take off a shoe with no problem. Rabbi Chanina, Chamin v'shemen shesachtani imi bialdusi, hein amdu li be'es ziknusi. And ultimately, again, Rabbi Chanina said, do you know why I have such balance, I have such health and vigor, even in my old age? Because of the warm water and the oil that my mother washed me with when I was young. So apparently, again, he attributed the incredible love and care, and it's actually quite beautiful. My mother took good care of me. My mother took good care of me when I was young. She bathed me in the warm water. She anointed me with oil, and therefore, again, that sustained me even into my own old age. Tan Rabbanon. Nismali Zikhanaroi Lasos Liasos Shachtzira. We'll say, it was incredible. So we'll say, now, Braisa says that when a person has a beard, then he's fit to be a Shliach Tzibor. So we'll say, this is actually quite interesting. The Shulchan Aruch actually codifies this, la halacha, that the Shliach Tzibor should have a beard. Right? This idea, now, again, on a basic level, what it's saying over here is it's an age thing. Right? That the Shliach Tzibor should be old enough that he's able to go ahead and grow a beard. Others say that no, what is a din is in personal piety. That the shliach tzibur should have someone who has a beard. Nismali is a kanaroi the asa shliach tzibur. Mishmur has a whole discussion about this. I will say about different standards for today. Okay, this is not our topic now. Nismali is a kano. If he has a beard, so roi le asa shliach tzibur. Then he can be made a shliach tzibur. Veleri lifnei ateva, velisa es kapov. He can lead the services, and I will say if he's a kohen, once he has a beard, he can duchen. But so we'll say here's what's interesting. But yet, technically speaking, at what age is a kohen really fit for avoda? Really, mishiyavish teisara. So we'll say from the moment that he brings 2 hairs. So the moment that he exhibits physical maturation, halacha l'maisa, again, he's already fit for the avoda. But I will say, so how does this shtim? You just said really when he has a beard is when he starts duchening, but what you said is really once he exhibits basic signs of physical maturation, which is presumably before he has a full beard, ultimately he could duchen. Amar b'chista my time with Rabbi Dichsiv vayamidu es halavim ben esrim shana v'mala l'natseach amalechas beis Hashem. So once I say quotes over here from the pasuk from Ezra, they would go ahead and establish the Levim from the age of 20 to do their avoda in the Beis Hashem. The idach linatseach shani. We'll say the word linatseach really means to supervise. So the Gemara, so now the other opinion will say yes. For supervision purposes, you got to be 20 years old, right? For avoda purposes, you could even be younger. Vaha high krab levim sid. But one second, this pasuk is not even talking about kohanim. This pasuk is talking about levim. Kid Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi be'esim va'arba makomos nikru kohanim levim. They will say, so the Gemara says, in 24 places, Kohanim are called Leviim, and this is one of those places. So the pasuk over here talking about the Leviim doing the avodah at the age of 20 is a reference to Kohanim. The Gemara says, Kohanim ha-Leviim b'nei tzaddik, because also we see that Kohanim are indeed sometimes called Leviim. Tan Rabbanon, mizaracha ledorosechem, mikan amar Belazar, Katan pasol la'avoda va'afilu tam. So also I said the pasuk says ish mizaracha ledorosam. A man from your generations will ultimately do the avodah. So we'll say the beginning of this pasuk is daber al-aron leimor ish mizaracha ledorosam. An ish. In order to do the avodah, we'll say what do you have to be? You have to be an ish. You have to be an adult. So we see from here that ultimately to be a kohen who does avodah, you have to be an ish. You have to be a man. So afilu tam, I will say even if halacha l'maisa you're unblemished, you still can't do avodah if you're not a man. Me'emas aikashal avodah. Therefore, again, at what point in time does a kohen become fit for avodah? Mishiyavish teisaros. From the moment ultimately what you bring 2 hairs of maturation. So I will say basic physical maturation. But watch this, is an incredible postscript here. Aval echav hakohanim in manichin oso la'avod ad shehei ben chaf. I will say, but we know historically, Kohanim would not allow young Kohanim to do the avodah until the age of 20. So I will say, even though technically speaking, a Kohen is fit for avodah, at what age? we'll call it bar mitzvah, but it was a practice amongst the Kohanim that they would not allow the youngins to do the avodah until the age of 20. Ika da'amir, will say others explain harebihi va'afilu pasal psul d'rabanan leslei. The ikadami Rabbi islay psul midrabanan v'harabanahu lechatchilahu delo aval di'eved avodas oksher. So we'll say again, we have different versions over here exactly as to what is occurring. Is it that a Kohen who is bar mitzvah but not yet 20 pasal midrabanan or totally kosher? So we'll say we have different versions of that. But bottom line, it appears that halacha lemaisa, the Kohen was fit for avodah already at what age? Already at the age of 13. But it appeared that historically, halacha lemaisa, they were not allowed to do the avodah until the age of 20. So we'll say, it appears that by Kohanim, the halacha is, they could begin to do the avodah at what age? Right? Bar mitzvah? Practically, weren't really allowed to do it until when? The age of 20. Mandatory retirement was when? When they get old, which we defined as when they become shaky, when they're no longer solid. Leviim, I will say, become apparently, so I will say, what about Leviim? So it appears according to the Gemara, Leviim are conscripted at the age of 25, study the halachas until the age of 30. Mandatory retirement is when? It depends. In the desert at the age of 50, right? Outside the desert in Shiloh in the base of Mikdash, at what age? When they can no longer sing, right? When their kolo is no longer ariv, when the voice is no longer pleasant, that's mandatory retirement. And I will say, and the Rambam indeed codifies this. The Rambam writes, ben chamishim shana yashom mitzvah avoda, eino ela bizman shayin nosin hamikdash yimakom lamakom. Ve'ino mitzvah nohagis adoros, aval adoros ein alevi nifsal b'shanim v'lo b'mumin ela b'kol. So we'll say the mandatory retirement at the age of 50, writes the Rambam, was only a din in the desert, was not a din ladoros. A Levi could continue to serve in the Beis HaMikdash until when? Until his voice gives out. She is kalkol kolo meirov hazikni pasal avodaso. The Yerusha nifsa el lomar shira aval yemen ashar. So we'll say, but the Rambam says a very important disqualification. Even when we say that at Levi, when his voice goes out, we'll say that is not, the Rambam writes, that's not mandatory retirement. What does it do? It's mandatory retirement from the Levitic choir. You can no longer be part of the choir, but what you can do is min hashora. Also, you can be one of the gatekeepers. Because remember, again, the Levim also had the responsibility for opening and closing the gates of the Beis HaMikdash. Therefore, halacha lemaisa, once your voice gives out, you can no longer go ahead and be of the choir, but you're absolutely permitted to ultimately still be part of the Levitic workforce in other areas. We'll stop over and share with you a short idea on the. I told you, incredible sugi, you know. I feel like I delivered.